course, I've still got this on, but it's a little more comfortable. You can tell, see Han, see my figures there. Everything's up. I've got some work to do because we've got people coming to visit tomorrow. If you can hear me, that would be really nice because I'm not sure if this is actually going to work or not. And I've had trouble with my audio on other venues. So let's see this. Okay. Rotate device back. Okay, orientate. Okay. Okay, great. Just some other guy. So yesterday, people started talking about something that I noticed, but really didn't. God, I look fat. Jeez, I hate this. Oh man, I don't want anybody to know this. Yes, I haven't been able to work out in a while. Uh, I really don't. All right, here's the thing. I watched Mandalorian when I woke up, and I was expecting to see in the introduction two things: uh, Kylo Ren and BB-8. Neither of them, and that was significant. So was the mention of Cara Dune, the very nice sort of kind of, oh, she's doing this and whatever, by Carl Weathers. But Carl Weathers really does like Gina, and Carl Weathers was very upset what they did to her. And that was significant. I think all of it's significant, and I think a lot of people out there don't realize how significant it is. It's one of those things where you're like, okay, guys, we really have to sit down and see what this thinks or means. First off, they gave it is a wide open highway, Autobahn, to let Gina come back. They're not probably going to recast her, even though, in my opinion, I think it's a good idea. And the reason why is it wouldn't have the shows would not have lost any momentum. They wouldn't have lost. Move this over here. They wouldn't have lost any momentum if they just said, okay, fine, whatever. Hey, Matt Piranha. Here's the deal. Okay. It is very interesting watching all this happening because it looks to me like just with that alone was enough to get her to put that word out. You know what I'm saying? That yeah, and the thing about it is that was still when Kennedy was fully in control of Lucasfilm. And you got to remember that all these changes started back in 2018. That's how long it takes, all right, to get momentum for something different going. And with the issues going on with Kennedy, because she wouldn't leave, she would not leave at all. It is very, in my opinion, sad that we've had to spend 5 years with this bullshit. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, they should have killed the sequel trilogy after The Last Jedi. I mean, I'm sure that was probably talked about. They didn't. Their loss. Okay, but I want to talk about what I think. They're leaving it open for Gina to come back. They're leaving it open for Rangers of the New Republic, her show. And for people that going poo-poo with it, look, we have people in the community that are her BFF, right? Yeah, he did. And, He has not really given her any control beyond a little bit with Indiana Jones 5. And we know that the person who succeeded him, that preceded him, Bob Chapek, did not like what they saw in the test screenings. Now, we've had people like uh, both James Mangold and her own husband say there weren't any test screenings. Yes, there were. Now it looks like they're confident enough to take it to Cannes, to the film festival in Cannes, whatever, yeah, Cannes. So, all right, here we go. So I'm confident that this Indy 5 will be okay. And it's not because of her, it's because of Frank Marshall and James Mangold, who I'm sorry to tell Matthew Kadish and the Salty Nerds over there, he's a good director. Okay. He's a good director. So, okay. Um, anyway, let's go further. Let's talk about what was missing in the intro. First off, BB-8. There was no orange and white basketball with the little cap on top. Gone. No BB-8. No Kylo Ren. No stolen Darth Revan mask and hood. Okay. That to me was huge. And when I saw it, I think just some other guy, I think that's what it was. It was probably, uh, the executives saw it and were like, and why? The question you have to ask is why were they about it? And my reasoning is uh, it wasn't the fact that any of Doomcock's rumors were true. It was the fact that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is as annoying as fuck. Okay, now she's gonna be in the movie. She's a significant character in it, but I think they probably toned her character down and redid some things so she doesn't ruin a scene. Yeah, and it was because the first show had everybody there, and they really could have done um, something beautiful with that. They didn't even necessarily have to follow uh, any uh, of George's rules. Okay, why? You don't necessarily have to follow what he says in order to do a good Star Wars show. Here's what we want to do. We want to follow a little more of the EU because people like it. These characters are popular. We want to incorporate a lot of what you want to, and here's what we've come up with. And that could have been doable, but they didn't. Because Bob Iger is short sighted. He is paying for it now. And we know that. He had to call in John Favreau with an idea, and they ran with it. And there you go. So it's one of those things where, you know, it was successful because it's Star Wars. Let's talk about the difference between Star Wars, George Lucas era, and Andor. Okay, it's all, look, the bigness. But then you look at Mando, you even look at Kenobi, you look at Boba Fett. Boba Fett didn't have the money Mando had. Even Kenobi, which should have had a huge budget, didn't. That should have been, that was not a $10 million a piece um, set. Okay, that wasn't. It couldn't have been. Because there's something missing in the production values. You go to Mandalorian and it's enormous. But Kenobi was big than Boba Fett. And it was way bigger than Andor. Andor was a Kennedy property. You could tell because the story was tiny. The story was woke. The story didn't have anything to do with Star Wars. It was just like this generic dumpster fire of garbage. And yeah, and I mean, yeah, it was way bigger than Resistance. But look, if you look at TFA, they what? They spent 200 what? $25 million or more, and they did it. They did have to do reshoots. I'm sorry. That's a Kennedy thing. Every time she gets her hands on something, something has to be reshot, which is neither good or bad. It's just something to remember. And it came back, and it was, J.J. Abrams' vision was a pinprick. Okay, it was a pinprick of how big the galaxy is. I just got done watching A New Hope again. When you are on Tatooine, Tatooine is vast. Tatooine is desolate. The shots of the droids out there um, uh, was intending to give you um, an idea that uh, it's desolate. There's nothing there. Just marauding, uh, sand people and stuff. And it's very interesting to me watching this. Uh, when you look at the Force Awakens, which had a much bigger. Hey, Coachy, come here, come here, Coach. He's not going to. There he goes. Here he is. Here, here. Hi, baby. Look at you. My interrupter. Anyway, he's also the one that wounded me. You're a bad boy. No, that's my hand. Get away. Yeah, you did enough. Go away. Go. Um, you look at The Force Awakens, you see how small it is. You don't get the wide. I don't know what J.J. Abrams thought. We didn't get those wide vistas. But when I look at what he did, I realize that the man didn't watch a John Ford movie. Okay, he didn't watch anything that had John Ford's signature on it, which was these big shots. Go to Mandalorian. The first shot you see, the door of that bar opens, and you see uh, uh, Brandon Wayne in the Mandalorian costume. And it's a shot literally from The Searchers. Brandon Wayne's grandfather, John Wayne, standing in the doorway of a house. It's the exact same shot. And it fucking works. Okay, that is camera work. The fact of the matter is, when you watch A New Hope, you don't necessarily know how long they were on the Falcon before they got to where Alderaan was. You say a day, couple of days. You got to do one hop, then you got to do another hop, another hop. You know, the hyperspace lanes aren't straight. Or if you look at the maps, they're not straight. They can't be. So think about it. Um, and that's a thought that's not lost on somebody going, they had to go a long way because it felt like it. You were in a completely different area of the universe. Okay. Then, how long does it take for them to get to Yavin 4? Okay. Was it a day? 4 days? Okay. And they have time then to get prepared for a Death Star attack because then they know they're going to be attacked. Okay. I mean, Leia, when Leia says they know where we're going to Han, she was right. They let him go. All right. Because they let her get rescued. They let her go because they wanted to find the main part of the Empire or the rebellion. How long did it take? That is a thought that's not lost on people. But it's a movie. It's a, what, 2.5 hour long movie, 2 hour movie. They can't. They have to show you in a way that's going to make you go, okay. Now, with The Empire Strikes Back, uh, the galaxy just got bigger. We went from a hot desert planet to basically a desert Arctic planet. There's nothing there but wampas and tauntauns and shit, right? And it is it gives you an idea of how many billions of star systems there are and how many places the rebels could hide. Okay, and how hard it would be for the Empire to find this little band of misfits. All right, so they're there, and Hoth again is a desolate, scary place that Luke gets beaten up and he's caught out in it, where Han has to go save him. And the Empire is, God knows where they are, but they figure out that this is where the rebels are and attack. Han goes to rescue Leia, and and Luke goes to Dagobah. Now we don't know how far Dagobah is. We don't know. Okay, so he's gone. Then when he gets to Dagobah, we're told we don't know how long he trained. Was he there for 3 weeks? Was he there for a month? How long did it take Han and Leia to get to Cloud City? Was it 40 days? Was it 70 days? You know, um, it's very interesting to me watching this go on because they don't have hyperdrive. Okay, if they had hyperdrive, he would have taken her to the rendezvous point and then gone. All right, he wouldn't have stayed. All right, but they didn't, so they're stuck. We don't know how long. They could have been captured for 6 months, and um, and on Dagobah, because it is a forced nexus planet, the moment he landed, he's in a completely different reality. All right. I think one of the reasons why I've never seen anybody talk about it, but it always occurred to me that it has occurred to me the reason why Yoda couldn't be found is because he was there. Okay. All right, he was there. They couldn't see him. All right. And Yoda was waiting for Skywalker to show up. Okay. And when he did, then he put him to the test. And how long did it take Luke once he left to get to Cloud City? You know, and we get how long was Han in Carbonite when we get to the time jump? Um, yeah, yeah, it's and just some other guys, right? So we get to the time jump in Return of the Jedi. Was it a year? Was it 6 months? You know, there's nothing in either canon that really kind of I've never seen kind of tells you. I would say it was about 8 months to a year for them to actually set up a rescue. And, with the new canon and the stupid comic books, we've got bounty hunters stealing Han away from Boba Fett. And his ex girlfriend auctioning him off. It's just look. Ignore that shit. It's going away. Okay, this is garbage. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but I really have to say that I think Marvel Comics, the printed, has to go. And all these people have to get real jobs because they suck at it. Okay, so, all right, let's say it was a year. Because in the original canon, Boba Fett was bouncing around from different places because he knew they were looking for him. And he also was trying to hold out for more money. Okay, so he's bouncing around, and you've got Leia and Luke and Lando looking for him. And you've also got other bounty hunters, but this is Boba Fett, so the idea of anybody stealing a bounty from him is, um, and, uh, it's very difficult for me to believe a bounty hunter would um, get Han Solo from him. Okay, so then we've got Boba Fett in negotiations with Jabba. Look, this is the best bounty hunter in the galaxy. He's the one scary motherfucker. He's not just gonna take whatever. He doesn't have to bring Solo back to Jabba for the money that Jabba offered him. Okay, he wants more. Do you blame him? So this is what they're looking for. And when they finally, you know, Leia shows up on Tatooine, Lando's there. Lando's like, he's here. Uh, I saw Fett land at Jabba's. I saw them take Han in. Okay, or whatever. And they come up with a plan. Leia gets either kills Bausch or gets somehow incapacitates a bounty hunter. They come up with a plan to take Chewbacca in, and Luke is the one that leads it up. That's what they did, and it works. And it would make sense that it took them a while to get this done. Okay, because you're not going to zip bang and go find Han. Okay, it's you're dealing with very crafty, stealthy individuals. So let's go back and look at the budget of TFA and how fucking small the galaxy was. Okay, throughout the EU in the early days when they were writing about this part of the Skywalker saga, the galaxy was enormous. So looking for Han isn't necessarily like looking for somebody in New York City. Okay, imagine a billion, quadrillion New Yorks with a trillion people apiece. Okay, that's what it was like. Okay, so we get to The Force Awakens and we get Jakku. No big wide shots. We have these obviously volume sets of down Star Destroyers, but it's really not, you don't get, and they're in Tunisia. They did film some of it in Tunisia, but you don't get the desolation. Okay. Even when she's in her AT-AT hut, you don't get the feeling of there's something lacking there. And I think the problem is, again, J.J. Abrams never studied the masters, John Ford, and the rest of them of the early days. God, who was the director of Lawrence of Arabia? Not David Lynch, but David Lean. These wide open vistas where you get a feeling of smallness of the people and how big the land is. When you're dealing with Star Wars, the people should be this big and the galaxy should be enormous. This also gives you a scope of how big the Force is. It is the universe itself. So you get to Jakku and everything's happening there. Just kind of like on Tatooine, rip off. And then they take off in the Falcon and they're suddenly pulled in by Han's new cargo ship. What the fuck was he doing there? This galaxy got to be that big. Then we get to Takodana. Han walks out, and you've got Starkiller Base, and you see it. And look, and this is a scientific fact. When the huge red giant Betelgeuse, I think it's Betelgeuse, decides to supernova, and it's going to, we'll be able to see it day and night. Okay. You know how far away that fucking thing is? Okay, so my question is just what part of the galaxy is all this happening in? To where you are a day from Takodana, from Jakku. You are literally 5 minutes from Starkiller Base and 3 minutes from Hosnian Prime. The fuck? That's how big it was. There's no reason for anybody to have been able to see it. Okay. Look, Mandalorian episode, what was it? Episode 9? The Marshal did it right. Okay, did it right. What did they do? When Cobb Vanth is talking about when the Death Star finally blew up, they saw it on a holovid. They didn't go, oh wow, look. Okay, that's how it works. This is This is how big it was, and this was one of the first indications these fuckers didn't know what they were doing. Yeah, and I think you're right, Mazarus. Um, I think that they he wanted to do that, and um, it didn't make any sense to people, and I think there are people going, "We're gonna need Coruscant." Okay, that is way too close to George, and it's JJ just being stupid. Okay, um, but then you've got how small he made the heroes. All right, they didn't get to live with their heroism. They didn't get to be the wise sages. He just turned Han into a deadbeat dad. Luke, he basically gave J.J. Abrams the gift. Fuck up Luke. I fucked up Han. You get to fuck up Luke. Their favoriteest characters ever. Me right back at him. Right. Right. Okay. Sure. Um. It's one of those things where you're going, what? And you can't quite understand what they were thinking. Um. But you know, so that's the problem. But now, then you get to Andor, and the galaxy is this fucking big. Okay, and Coruscant looks like, again, they went and filmed in London. They didn't use a volume stage. Look, when Dave Filoni in The Bad Batch do Coruscant better than live action, you've got a problem. But I'm going to tell you this. You can tell that Kathy's stuff did not have the budget. Part of the reason why I think Kenobi didn't do as well is the budget wasn't there. Now, Fanboy Incorporated will scream and shout about the story. Oh, it broke canon. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Actually, it solidified canon. Okay, they did not ruin Leia and her meeting and everything and her feelings for Obi-Wan. She didn't know who Luke was. I mean, she said Ben Kenobi. She wasn't probably sure that he knew that he was trustworthy. Okay. Um, so you got that. You've got the fact that they made sure they didn't that he made her promise not to tell anybody that they knew each other. Okay, so that didn't get broken. You've got Obi-Wan looking at the broken shards of what Anakin had become and says, "Then my friend is truly dead. Goodbye, Darth." It's such a fuck you, you prick, to him. You broke my heart. That's what that was. And instead of Fanboy Inc. going, like normal people, like it broke canon. The fuck did that break canon? All right, but hey, they know better than everybody. Anyway, and again, I think that show suffered from a smaller budget. Okay, but like yesterday, Star Wars Theory said something about, they didn't have any aliens in Kenobi. It's like, yes, they did. There were aliens all over the place in Kenobi. Okay, you had two that were whatchamacallits. Oh God, I can't. Inquisitors. Okay, you had two Inquisitors who were aliens. You had the Grand Inquisitor is an alien. There were other characters all over the place. So yes, there were aliens. There were three. Actually, I think the three of them, except for the third sister. Okay, the fifth brother, that wasn't human. The other girl, she wasn't human, and the Grand Inquisitor was supposed to be, I think, a Mun. Okay, so there you go. Um, and they were complaining about him, and it's like all Muns are supposed to look like the one that, or no, or was he supposed to be like um, Utapowan? Are they supposed to be Utapowan? Are they all supposed to look like that? Yeah, yeah, Powan. You're right. You're right. You're right. I get those guys mixed up. So, but they're all supposed to look like the one Obi-Wan met in Revenge of the Sith. Okay. All right. That's kind of stupid, but all right. So, these things suffered from a lack of funds. And Tony Gilroy saying he didn't want to have Star Wars and Star Wars. No, they don't all look alike. That's my point, just some other guy. So when you heard Fanboy Incorporated bitching about that, it's like, what are you talking about? You idiot. You know? Um, but, and then of course, let's go to Andor. Boring. No production value at all. They literally filmed on location places that I've been. All right, I don't want to see where I've been. I want to see a place I've never been. Okay. Um, the use of VFX was sparse because they had a lack of budget, and there was nothing new. There were no aliens. I mean, look at Ferrex. There were a few, but it should have been a mass of different kinds of peoples. And then, you talk about being lectured in politics. Fucking Andor's adopted mother, Fiona Shaw. She's an angry, bitchy lesbian, and that's what she played. Okay. Then you've got Val, who should have been a man, but Tony Gilroy wanted to make a woke point. And you've got Fanboy Incorporated saying it wasn't woke. It's like, that's fucking woke. That is motherfucking woke. Okay. Dykes in space is woke. If you want to do that, make your own space opera. Okay. I'm done. I'm done with the excuses. Anyway, look, I gotta go because I gotta prepare for a podcast. So I want you guys all to be good, behave, be safe, and have a great afternoon. Um, as far as the disappearing Kyle Ron mask and the disappearing droid, I think John Favreau now has the gloves off. And he is now going to start. I mean, he's in the timeline now. If Luke, all right, if the Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 are 5 years after the Battle of Endor, then you've got the Book of Boba Fett that spans that 5 years. And after, because you've got Luke training Grogu for 2. Okay. We're going to get a gray Jedi out of this, which would be cool. Make them canon. And so we're now in the sequel trilogy pre-timeline. So if we run in to the OT characters and we see Leia with 2 kids, Kylo Ren is dead. Okay. And because they didn't take that mask off for no reason. All right. John is not going in that direction. Because it's stupid. And it doesn't make him money. And he didn't like it anyway. And I would like to have share a bottle of wine with him and discuss the virtues of fucking Raylo. All right, this is Steph, signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.